Hello, everybody. This show has been created to inspire you to take action.
All about celebrating and reframing what success looks like.
To be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
And we have incredible speakers for you tonight.
Hello, and welcome to the Future Females Show. I'm Susana Kennedy, and in the Future Females Show, we always are excited to share the stories of CEOs and founders and women forging a different path that can empower you and inspire you to create your version of success. Today, one of my lovely friends is joining us, Shashi Naidoo. She is a serial entrepreneur. A lot of people know her from her television work and presenting work and her modeling work, because let's just face it, she is a smoking hot, beautiful woman. But one of the things that I've always really admired about Shashi is she has balanced all of this beauty with brains and business sense. She is a serial entrepreneur who started being an entrepreneur at the very tender age of 2 years old, when she started selling lemonade to her family. Yes, she really did do that. And she has owned multiple businesses along the way. So I would love to welcome Shashi Naidoo. How are you doing? Welcome to the Future Females Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, you asked me to do the show, and sometimes it's like, but why me? But thank you. It's so good to be on your show, and happy to have a chat with you.
Shashi, you know, I love that you're still humble. Despite all these things that you've actually achieved, you still have that humbleness about you. But the reality is you are an incredibly successful businesswoman and entrepreneur. And one of the things I really want to tackle within this specific episode of the Future Females Show is how to create financial abundance as a female entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us, just like in very short, what are the businesses that you currently have? And I know that you've just sold a business as well, but can you just frame for everybody who's watching, like what are the businesses that you have built up and the business that you've just sold on right now?
So I started Alushi Models 16 years ago, and I just recently sold my baby. It was sad, but a beautiful day to see it passed on to somebody else. And then I've had Alushi Aesthetics. So we do all things aesthetics: laser hair removal, laser skin rejuvenation, laser lipolysis, and all the other typical spa treatments. And I've had that for 7 years now. And I also own and run 4 Airbnb properties. And that's something I'm really getting into a lot more. But obviously the reason for me selling is because I've decided to move to Dubai, which was kind of, I'm a bit crazy like that. I decided one day, you know what, I'm single, I don't have kids. If I'm ever going to try it, now would be the time. And just, I wanted something new and exciting. So this move to Dubai happened. So now we're going to try and start some things here.
I mean, you say crazy like that, but I think adventurous, bold, brave, you know, those are words that come up for me, Shash, because the reality is that is who you are in life. You are adventurous, you are bold, and you are incredibly brave, and you move into things with that. And I know you owned a florist as well at some point, and I know that selling your baby after 16 years of building a business must have been an incredibly huge move for you. I really want to frame for everyone that Shashi is not only successful in terms of having multiple businesses, but she is financially successful. She has created a financial success of herself. And for me, what that looks like is having the financial freedom to live life on your own terms, which is what I would like for every female entrepreneur. In fact, every person on this earth, is if we can live from a point of having enough finances coming in that we get to choose how we're going to live our lives. I think that for me is one of the definitions of success. Everybody's got different definitions. But when did you know that was important for you as an entrepreneur on your journey to create financial freedom? And what was your first step to creating that financial freedom?
You know, I have a lot of young girls ask me about my path and how I got to where I am now. And how can they start their own business? And I said, the biggest, most important thing that you're going to need, and you'll realize this when you start a business, is money. And people think in whatever scenario they're in at this point in time that, like, oh, I only make this, saving is not that important. So saving is something that I've always done. From the time I was 15 years old, I saved. And people just see kind of the end game and they think, oh, this is where you are. But at the same time that I was acting on Backstage, at the same time I was doing huge TV commercials, I was also doing promotions that paid 25 Rand an hour. And my rule to myself was 70% of whatever I earned, I saved. And some months were still good. Some months I still lived great, so 30%. Other months it was brown bread and butter. So you have to make those sacrifices, whatever salary you're earning, because whatever business you do eventually want to get into, you're going to need capital to start it up. Whether you're going to get financing or bridging finance, but they will want to look at how you conduct yourself. You need to have good credit. So that saving is like probably the most valuable thing I could impart if I imparted anything. And it doesn't matter what, if you're earning 10,000 Rand a month or 25 Rand an hour, whatever it is, say this amount of money I'm going to put away. And you don't realize how it adds up, because 70% of 25 Rand doesn't seem like a lot, but when you've been doing it for 20 years, it will give you enough to invest into something serious. And you can go into your dream business, because most of us, to be fair, are not doing the jobs of our dreams, right? I have been fortunate that I've always chosen what I wanted to do, but opening the aesthetic clinic was a dream that I had for 10 years. It was 10 years in the making. And I knew for myself, I'm not comfortable with credit. I wanted to buy all the equipment that I needed. And some of these machines are going to run into the millions, an individual machine. So I wanted to buy all the machines in cash, set it up in cash, so that I didn't have that strain on my business monthly to have to pay back. So saving.
Oh my gosh, Shashi, you say it doesn't sound like that much. 70% of what you earn. I mean, most people are the opposite way around. Most people, if you're lucky, they will save between 10 and 20% of what they earn. But I think that one of the keys there is you started at 15. And it's much easier if you start at 15 to really take 70% of what you earn and put it away, because money is different then. First of all, money is different. You've got a roof over your head, you're getting food, you don't have the monthly expenses that you have as adults. And so I know that a lot of female entrepreneurs watching right now are probably going, what? How am I going to save 70% of what I earn? But saving a large portion of what you earn, as much as possible, even if you build up, is probably a really great first step, right?
Yeah. And I think what I did, I mean, I was neurotic about it, though. I was a bit crazy, and I admit, but I mean, I used the word crazy twice now in this interview, but I was neurotic. Every amount that I spent that was over 20 Rand, I wrote it down for the day. So if I spent 20 Rand on that, and then you start taking notes, if you like analyzing your expenditure, oh gosh, like this coffee costs this much, I'm going to cut that out. So whatever was like not necessary, or in my mind, I didn't deem necessary, I cut out. And I think that's a good way. You can say anything over 50 Rand, write it down, and you can then see where is your money going. Because a lot of us get to the end of the month and don't realize where did it all go. And you can make decisions that are based. Like, I mean, when I moved to Joburg, I got the first apartment I bought was at that stage 150,000 Rand. Can you believe property cost that?
Sure.
150,000 Rand. So, but what I did was it had 2 bedrooms. I converted the dining room into my bedroom, and then I rented out the other 2 rooms, which paid off the bond while I was studying chiropractic. So, you can make decisions that are going to benefit you in the long run, but you've got to have that plan. Okay, one day, and you might not know what you want to do, right? A lot of people think, okay, but I've got to have this grand idea. It will come to you in time, I guess, when you start understanding yourself better. But if you get there and then you don't have the capital to start, that's the problem. So start making the right choices so that you have the freedom to leave the job world if you need to.
Absolutely. So I think maybe, what is success to you? Like, I obviously created part of my version of success. I mean, that's not the entire version of success, but it is definitely one aspect of success for me. But what defines success for you, for Shashi Naidoo?
Well, like you said, it definitely is different for every individual. And I think what's important to anyone watching is for you to identify what is important to you. And you can be realistic, and you have to actually be
But what
realistic
is
and honest.
yours, Shash? Not everybody else's.
So,
What is
like
yours?
for me, I believe, of course, I require financial success in the businesses that I do. But I believe firmly that if you're doing something with love and passion and you're doing it in the correct way, and I'm happy to wake up and go to work in the morning, that for me is success. So, but I think the money will follow anyway. But creating something that I'm proud of, yeah, and having just that I really there are so many people that wake up in the morning and are like, oh, another day. And I really never feel that way. There's no difference for me waking up on a Monday and waking up on a Saturday. I'm not like, oh my God, the weekend's here. Those my days are all the same. I love what I do. I enjoy every day. Work is not a pain to me. So for me, that is success.
Yeah, I love that because, as um, I'm a transformational coach, and for me, I have a Monday, like, yay, it's Monday, instead of like,
Yeah.
so many people are like, oh my
Yes.
God, it's Monday. I'm like, yay, it's Monday. Let's like greet the week with excitement. And if you're not
Yes.
living that, taking the steps towards living that, I think is so, so, so important because life is so short, right? We only have one life that we know of in this body with this consciousness, and we should be living it to the absolute fullest. So on that note, what was the first business that you felt for yourself was truly successful, and what made it successful?
So I would say the events business that I started when I was in university, Vigor 8, was very, very successful. And it started off because one of my jobs was I was working at a club door and I was stamping people as they came in. And that was one of my like promo type jobs. And one night we had a matric dance after party that arrived there, and all of them got bounced. And that was very close. I was close in age to them at that time. I think I was maybe 19, and I was like, "That's so sad. They're all gonna miss their matric dance after party." So I went to the owner and I said, what if you're not open on a Friday? What if I went to schools and said, "Do you want to come and do your party here?" And like, so I created a business. In the last year, we were working with huge clients. We had 62 schools. But because of the network that we built, when we were doing parties of like 4,000 at a time, 4,000 people. So it grew into something really, really massive. But I think the key thing there was, and with any new business that you start, it's about finding a niche. If you can find a niche of something that nobody else is doing, that is where you're going to shine.
Absolutely. So before Matric Rage, there was Shashi Naidoo's
Yes,
after
yes,
parties.
yes. We're involved in all of that. Yes,
I love
yes.
that. I love that so much. What has been your most successful business so far? So obviously that was an incredibly successful business, but
That was that incredibly financially successful venture, but it was a lot of late nights. Like I was getting home at 8 a.m. every morning. It was for me not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It's not sustainable. I'm a morning person. I like being up at 6, not going to bed at 8. So it was a lot of fun. But I would say the most well known is obviously, of course, Alushi models. People will meet me and say, "Oh my gosh, you own Alushi models?" So yes, it's been financially successful. I think it got the recognition because when we also, again, with Alushi models, when we started, it was a long time ago. At that point, there was a typical model. There was only a size 0. You had to be 173 or above. Um, and everyone was cookie cutter. So I said, well, that doesn't make sense to me. We are all different. We're all beautiful. And so I started an agency that catered to models who were different, maybe not 173, not a size 0, who were different. And now that is very much commonplace today. But at that stage, it didn't exist at all. So I think in terms of job satisfaction and building something that I was really proud of, that was inclusive, and part of the shift that we see now of diversity, that I think is for me, I'm so proud of it. So yeah, I would say in terms of success, definitely Alushi models.
so in both cases, in both these examples, are very successful businesses that you've created. The the key takeaway that I'm getting there for female entrepreneurs is seeing the gap.
Because a lot of people see other people's success and perhaps, oh my gosh, Huda's making billions selling makeup, or this one is started this, and look how well she's doing. And yes, you can definitely model your business based on somebody else's, but I think just doing the same thing that everyone else is doing and expecting huge success, it's not going to happen unless you're adding something completely new to the formula. You're not going to achieve that much success. It's already been done.
So what would be your best piece of advice? Because you've obviously built multiple streams of income now. What would be the piece of advice that you think is the most valuable to give female entrepreneurs who are wanting to build multiple streams of income?
So exactly that. I think so now I've shifted to a place, I'm a little bit older now, I'm 42, but I've had this plan long term that I've invested in real estate and owning something that can generate a passive income, because let's face it, as much as I love working, I don't want to be doing it forever. I want to get to a point where I'm just sitting, sipping cocktails on the beach somewhere. Like, I want to enjoy retirement and really enjoy. So I think also, as far whatever business you're doing, also think about having something else like property that you can invest in. I get money from Airbnb rental, so that's worked well for me. But everyone is different, so just make sure you are diversifying a little bit, as well as focusing on your main passion. I think we get so involved in what we're doing right now that we don't see, and I think that was a huge lesson that COVID taught us, that you can have a highly successful business today, and then something can happen and gone like that, and you don't anticipate it. And that's why it's so important to be involved in multiple things, so that if something were to happen, God forbid, in one business, that you are then still okay.
It's that whole thing of don't keep all your eggs in one basket, right? Have multiple eggs in different baskets, so that you are covered. And I think that's really great advice, and I think more and more women are embracing that. And I think one of the biggest challenges, though, is the split focus, right? Because a lot of women, a lot of people, and a lot of coaches, and a lot of self-help books are always like, no, focus on one thing, build that one thing, right? So how have you balanced that? How have you managed that?
This was a problem that I initially had in my business, where I was the world's worst CEO because I had to do everything myself. If you're building a successful business, it should be able to operate. If you go away for a month, that business should be able to operate entirely without you. A one-man show is never the answer. So as you're building up, obviously, yes, you're going to be doing absolutely everything. But once you get to a point where the business can run without you, that is the best case scenario. So that, yes, you can focus on other things. And obviously, we're women, so we need to remember that we need to make time for family. We need to make time for other things in our lives too. That's, women, they say that we do it all women. It doesn't exist, but it's important, I think, to yes, focus on your business, but make it sustainable without you.
So I love that you said that, because I think that is one of the challenges that most solo entrepreneurs or solopreneurs deal with, and so many women, especially when they're starting out, are solopreneurs, right? We start out and we are the business. And one of the things that you've done really successfully is you obviously built up Alushi Models and have sold it at a profit, which is fantastic. Did you know going in that you were going to sell it one day? Was it a conscious thing, or was it something that happened along the way? And do you advise that women go into business being conscious of the fact that at some point they might want to sell it, and so that they actually build a structure within their business to support that for a future possibility?
Look, that's a tricky one. I definitely didn't know that I didn't think, when you start something, it started on my dining room table with 5 models, so I couldn't have predicted the success of Alushi Models. Obviously, you hope it, I never in my wildest dreams would have anticipated the success of it. So no, the intention was not to sell, but yes, as you go, and most people are going to have more than one business. If you are someone like me, like who is an entrepreneur by nature, you'll want it, you know. And also, if you can think about franchising, or like even if you're not selling, creating a model that works and can be replicated is super important. So you might not be selling, but one day you might want to franchise or open in Cape Town or whatever. So that would be important. But from my side, no, I had no idea, and it mainly came from the move to Dubai that I chose to do that, because that, as much as yes, I can go away for long periods, I think models and clients want someone who's a bit more hands-on. It is one of those businesses where you kind of need to be in communication with models or clients and say, like, this is what's going on. They want to hear your voice. So me being this far away wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work. Whereas the Alushi, the salon, can completely work because
Yes.
you've got a great manager in there and she's running things. And that is absolutely scalable, right? So that you could franchise even in Dubai.
Yes.
Yeah. So fantastic. So I think the two big takeaways so far have been obviously see the gap. See the gap in the market and innovate around that gap, feed that gap. And then the second one is build a business that doesn't require you personally being there all the time, so that you can create multiple streams of income and not keep all your eggs in one basket.
That initially, listen, you are doing absolutely everything. You are the maid, you're the secretary, you are the CEO, you are absolutely everything, and you're putting in 18-hour days. That is the beginning. But you need to keep in mind of how and learn how to delegate. A lot of us really, and I struggled with this, learning how to delegate and allowing other people to grow within your business. You know, I often even had people that work for me, and my aim is not for someone to work for me for the rest of their life. I want to teach them goals and skills to empower them so that they can go on to either do their own thing or find another amazing job, but preferably to open their own setup. Like that for me is the biggest goal.
Yeah.
Empowering other women.
Absolutely. And you know what's so funny about that is it's both a gift and a curse when we do this, because so often we'll empower someone and we've put this beautiful energy and time into empowering them, and then they leave, and then we've got to go through that process of doing it with somebody else, right? It would be so nice if there was a stay period.
And but I always say that when I interview people to work for me, I've done badly as a boss. If you're still working for me in the next 5 years, I want you to achieve bigger and better things, you know? So yes, a lot of them stay with me for a very long time, but it's all about empowerment. You've got to pass the baton on.
Absolutely. Okay, so actually, I did forget the first one. The first one is save. So create the financial cushion that you're going to need in order to have financial freedom. The second one is see the gap. The third one is, what was the third one, Shashi?
Learning to delegate.
Build a business that doesn't require your time.
Yes.
And then this one, empower the people within your business consistently, which I believe in as well. What is the best piece of advice that you've ever gotten that you use within your business or businesses?
I would say, well, it's not advice, but you really need to, your staff are your best assets always. So if you're not great with people skills, if you find yourself just in terms of your personal life that you're constantly having conflict with either friends or whatever, it might be good to see someone and get assistance on how to manage and deal with people. It is such an important part of running a company, of what your staff think of you. Because if your staff do not like you and do not get along with you, they are not going to do their best work. So you want to create an incredible positive environment. And for me, you would think this is something that gets, that everyone would understand. I mean, Susana, you've always been amazing with people. You're a people's person, but it doesn't just naturally come to a lot of people. So I would even say, get self-help books or take some courses and learn how to manage staff effectively and treat your staff with respect, because they are your biggest assets.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that, you know, businesses are built on the people that run them. And it's something I actually am consistently saying to people who want to give donations to my community center. I have people, because I think, you know, I've got a community center in Nyanga and Gogoletu. And people are always like, oh, the kids, can we give them toys? Can we give them this? Can we give them that? And while that is so beautiful and generous, and I appreciate it so much, please help me pay the staff's salaries, because the staff, the actual teachers and nurturers and chefs that are cooking these kids' food, those are the people on the ground that are allowing these children the safe, nourishing environment that they require to then grow up into adults that we can respect in this world and that can be respected and love themselves. But without that staff, without those people, you know, these kids are lost. So it's so great that you bring that up, because I think people forget it way too often. So I think, Shashi, we're almost out of time, but I would love to ask you, what is, because I love celebrating women. I love celebrating everyone. You know me, any reason to celebrate, I'm like, woo, let's do it. And I don't feel that women do it enough. So what is something that you celebrate about yourself? What is something that you are really proud of about yourself?
I am really proud of the fact that I've accepted that, you know, this aging process. I think in my 30s, I was really like, oh my God, I'm getting like ugly, I'm aging. And now I'm just kind of, you know what? Beauty's nice and it's great, but if this is not the most valuable thing, like this is valuable to me, this is valuable to me, and that still remains. So I think just the wisdom to accept that I've accepted that, and I know that it's definitely not my best quality. I'm celebrating that that I'm rejoicing. I'm loving when people say, how old are you? I'm like, I'm turning 43. I don't even say 42. I'm like, I'm so proud of this being this age and everything that comes with it, the maturity. Yeah.
I think that is so beautiful, because I also believe that when we fully accept and love who we are and where we are on the journey, we actually become beautiful in a completely different way. It's because obviously you've been beautiful your whole life, but I mean, I've never seen you look as gorgeous as you are looking now. You're just always consistently shining. And it's obviously because of this journey of where you've come to in just truly loving and accepting you for where you are and celebrating that. So I love that. And I invite every single person watching to do the same. No matter where you are on your journey, you are exactly where you're meant to be. And there's that great song, Shash, I'm sure you'll remember it, Wear Sunscreen. Do you remember that? It was about Baz Luhrmann's song. My dad used to play it all the time. And there's one line in that poem, because it's actually a poem, that says, you are not as ugly as you think. 20 years from now, you'll look back at what you looked like and won't believe how good you looked, right? And it's so true. Like, enjoy where you are, love where you are. It's beautiful. Shashi, thank you so much for your time and your beautiful energy and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
To everybody watching at home, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Susana Kennedy. You've been watching the Future Females Show, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.